can be a bit of a different story. Anyhow, spawning over in the top right-hand side of Everdream to start off the grand final of North American DreamHack. Playing for Team Alpha X, it is Astrea.
And in the bottom left-hand side, looking to not get adapted, it is Scarlett.
I am already, so I'm looking at this, and the opening that Astrea's going for is already very different to Neeb's. And you might be looking at this being like, Ben, the gateway is literally in the exact same spot that Neeb put it, but no probe left his base whatsoever. So that hatchery goes down on the natural. We've automatically got a very, very different ZVP on our hands.
Absolutely. And Astrea, we should look at what he's doing instead. Scarlett, of course, is going to have a better time than she normally would on her front because she's able to drop that hatchery. But what Astrea is doing is he's optimizing for greed. We even saw it in the taking of the gas. He was mining it with just one probe, and then the second probe comes after saturating his main base. So this Nexus, this Cybercore, are extremely quickly. I would love to see behind this some sort of very, very sharp timing from Astrea, something that hits, you know, super early.
That's what you're feeling right now?
Yeah, just on the back of the fact that he's cutting some corners and not scouting at all. I mean, oftentimes you see at least the scout after the gateway, right, or something of the sorts, and he's getting away with that to some degree as well, because Scarlett is just playing as standard as she can for the opener.
I wonder, like, so if you're a Zerg, right, you don't get scouted at all by a probe or anything, do you feel a little bit cheated? Like, you'd have died immediately to a 12 pool kind of thing. You do? Okay.
Oh yeah, he would have died immediately to a 12 pool, there's no doubt, man. He would have died immediately to a 12 pool, and even things like, if Scarlett decided, hey, your scout is too late or something like that, maybe, I don't know. But she could definitely do like a one base saturation of two hatcheries like Roach or Ravager all in. There's many things that you can do to punish like a lack of scouting. That said, Astrea is dropping a very fast starport, so maybe relying on the Void Ray for defense. It's one of the best defensive units, and you know you can crack much cheaper and quicker.
Yeah, I'm curious as to what it'll make. Like the timings for his minerals and gas, it's lining up for an Oracle, which could be, or it could be a Void Ray. Okay, an Oracle is so. Trying, well, nothing too crazy so far from him. I mean, the not scouting part is a little bit crazy, but maybe he'll mix it in the series, because the next game he could do a super early scout, and then it's like, okay, if I go for a 12 pool, I'm literally absolutely gambling here.
Yeah, I mean, 12 pool is still a decent opener, but I am absolutely with you. Yeah, this is already a small victory for Astrea, who's going to find his way into the mineral line, but only catches 2 drones. Still pretty decent off a start. He needed to shoot with both adepts one more time, so that's not great, actually. Scarlett will punish those 2 adepts. The Oracle will have been spotted, and there is a Void Ray transition at least. But what I was saying, Ben, if Scarlett had been going for something like Roach, Ravager Aggression, again unscouted, and you go 2 adepts into Oracle, you are again super dead. So I really like what Astrea is doing cutting corners here. I mean, it's not like he's unaware of this.
Oh, but this Oracle is getting way more done than any of the Oracles that Neeb had. And is that because of Astrea's play? Is it because Scarlett wasn't as prepared for this? It feels a bit more the latter, no?
Yeah, I feel like Scarlett, I think she spotted the Oracle because there was an Overlord standing right in front of it. So it must have been that she was distracted at the front there where she was trying to break through and nearly did. Because if those links get in, maybe that's what she prioritizes and maybe that's where she thought her opening was. But Astrea wins on both fronts with the Adept not falling and the Oracle going in with the Queens being out of position. So he gets a lot of kills, like you pointed out too.
Yeah, he's been ahead on the workers for quite a bit. This is a very ballsy Oracle. Nicely dealt with. Oh, 1 extra drone getting caught, but not the biggest deal in the world.
Yeah, not too bad indeed. This spore is also positioned for the Void Ray, which leaves some opening for the Oracle to come in later, but it's such a weak Oracle, it's going to be difficult to make that work.
It's pretty much going to be a stasising only Oracle at this point, or
Yeah.
maybe gets recalled out later,
Oh,
maybe some
love
revelations. Ooh.
Look at Max Angel splitting both adepts, and is gonna go to wherever. Okay, in this case, only continues the shade on forward with these. I thought he was just gonna micro the ones that were unattended to by Scarlett, but instead finds a decent opening with 2 of them, and doesn't go with the other 2.
Oh, you keep jinxing him. It's like, oh, I love this. Oh, damn, they died. Oh, but something else did get done because he did kill 7 drones here, apparently. So what was that with? Oh, the Oracle.
It has 10 worker kills now. So the Spore now being repositioned for Oracle. If we look at the Spore in the main, it's no longer a Void Ray Spore. It's now an Oracle Spore because respect.
Yeah. Okay, so we're looking at this, and while we were like, oh, the Adepts are getting something done, so he showed 2 groups of Adepts, then went into damage with the Oracle. It makes way more sense now.
Yeah, absolutely. So instead of choosing, he chose damage with the Oracle. I'm not even sure how he did damage with both at the same time, because he was microing the Adepts, right? He must have just shift-clicked really quickly on one of the units and then looked at the other, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. And a big gateway explosion here. So he's already on 3 gateways and 7 more gateways incoming. This is going to be a lot of charge lots, Archons, you name it. This is going to be a real Zerg killer incoming very soon.
Not just a Zerg killer, but a Hydra killer. And this is why I love the decision of Scarlett not to go Hydras in this game. And it really shows how much in the game she is, or how much in tune she is with her opponents. Making Hydras every time against need, but Astrea is going for charge lots and potentially maybe Storm later or something, but charge lots are a very strong counter to Hydras, and they are pretty weak against Roaches. So Scarlett adapting, she's not... Oh, actually, there is a Hydra then on the way as well. So, but still, a base number of Roaches going in first.
Okay.
4 drones, actually.
Yeah, that was a bit of a stasis trap there, and I'm not sure how I feel. I think Scarlett's doing a lot of things at once, like getting up to Lurkers, the Hive, the 4th base, and I'm not sure she knows what's coming here. She's getting a scout off in the main base now, but a bit too late.
I think so. This is a huge gateway. Now she catches wind of it, but there's nowhere near the amount of units that she wants out here. The Lurker then has just started, like you pointed out. I mean, the production tab says everything, and Astrea is everywhere. Very reminiscent of the first game where Neat punished Scarlett for being basically overly greedy. So Astrea kind of taking a page from that book, only with units that counter Hydras instead, and I really like it. I'm not sure that Scarlett can hold this.
No, I mean, Astrea, at first when we looked at that army in the middle, I was like, that is a really bad army, but of course he was doing something else at the same time. 12 drones do fall so far. Astrea is getting a little bit ahead in supply. Scarlett is mounting a large force in her own main base for the defense against the Warp Prism, but did lose her 4th while all this went on.
Yeah, but that's all she lost, honestly. I feel like Astrea could have pushed onto the 3rd, knowing that most of the army of Scarlett was out of position for that, right? Like when you see the entire army of Scarlett dealing with your Archons in the main, maybe at least run a few Zealots into that 3rd base, because taking the 4th is nice. Actually, that's pretty nice. He's taking his own 4th now, Ben. I'm just scared. The Lurkers are scary, and this looked like a stronger move from Astrea, who, by the way, this Oracle, jeez.
Yeah, cost efficiency, right? And getting it done again, is it gonna get off?
Another one.
Astrea's ahead in supply, and he's got that Archon drop ready, that Warp Prism. He's got a Warp Prism over to the... Where's the other one, actually? Let me have a quick check. It's over to the top left, so he's getting ready to be super annoying.
Yeah, I love that. That is such a great setup, right? Like the 3 blue dots, the triangle of death between this killer Oracle and the 2 Warp Prisms ready to attack at either side, plus the army in the front. I mean, this is... Astrea is really bringing a brand of Protoss that we don't see very much from many Protosses, right? Willing to attack in so many fronts at once, and I really like it. These Templars are also going to be very strong against the army composition that Scarlett has at present.
Yeah, Scarlett's definitely getting to a point in the game that she likes to be, though, where she's got a lot of Lurkers, getting a pretty high Hydra count, as she does. Astrea being ahead in supply definitely scares me for Scarlett a little bit. But one wrong move, because these Lurkers, they're going to be in pretty high numbers soon.
Yeah, and we were talking about earlier how the Zealots are really good against Hydras. And I thought, again, Astrea had a great timing, but these lurkers are scary because they are kind of the hard counter to the army that Astrea has. He doesn't really have much potential to get rid of them. And actually, getting one of his war prisms gets caught here. Let's see if he chooses to move with the other one. As a result, though, Scarlett is ready also for that one. I think some units patrolling in her main. Scarlett playing phenomenal StarCraft to stabilize here.
Yeah, she's definitely solidifying a good position in the game. And I mean, she was under a lot of pressure earlier on, and now she can be defensive. She can just kind of soak up the map a little bit. Her creep spread is always really good as well. She has this veil of security, safety. And what's the lurker count getting up to? 14 lurkers out on the map. That is a crazy number.
Yeah. And the other scary thing of this army is that, say Astrea goes and storms some of this or uses the Immortals to try to shave off some of these lurkers. If the army of Scarlett retaliates, it's very, very difficult for Astrea to disengage because the Zealots will run forward towards the lurkers. So it's a very delicate balance, whereas if he had like Stalkers or something instead, he could just kind of hold his ground. The Zealots don't have that ability. They have to go forward into the lurkers if they want to engage.
This was a nice bit of a victory for Astrea, though. That is so many lurkers all in the same spot. Jeez Louise. But he does take out the kind of 5th base of Scarlett with his small ragtag army at the bottom there. And they're both kind of dancing around the map with little squads that want to get damage done. But, oh, it's very difficult to get out, feels like.
Yes, indeed. Scarlett having to reposition a little bit. Yeah, there is what you would call a triage of unit subsets here out on the map then. They are, 2 of them are gonna join together. Okay, Stormy Boys might have finally something to say about this army and the lurkers. So finally an engagement that Astrea feels comfortable taking, and rightly so. He will clear a good chunk of Scarlett's army without reply.
Say rightly so, and I agree with you. Like, that was a lot of valuable lurkers and stuff just falling, but oh my gosh, okay, he has 16 gateways, Cats. Like, that's a lot of warping potential.
Yeah. Were you about to say he's still like behind in supply and then he warped in 1,000,000 units?
Yes, that is exactly what happened.
That's so great.
This does feel like an Astrea trademark thing to do, though, just making an excessive amount of gateways. And like, he can be many places at once, and he's also getting a Shadow Stride upgrade for the DTs as well, so that'll make things a lot more problematic for Scarlett.
Yeah, and I love now that he's warping the Zealots and he's kind of keeping them to themselves on one side, whereas this army, which, you know, with or without Zealots, it can do the same exact thing against the Lurkers, right? Like, the Zealots cannot engage onto Lurkers, so it's good to have that squad separate. And now the core of the army of Astrea is still very much able to fight Lurkers, though with very few Stormers. He has to be a little bit careful to get caught off guard by, say, a large Hydra or Zergling switch.
Oh.
I haven't seen much of that from Scarlett.
There was a Lurker drop that I was watching run across the map, and and it just got caught by a Void Ray. The one Void Ray that's defensive. So
he probably forgot about that Void Ray. I didn't know there was a Void Ray out here somewhere.
But yeah, that was definitely a good shutdown. And so Astrea's rich, man. He's got 3k minerals, 3k gas. Tech-wise, can't really transition into any air units. 16 DTs. Wow.
Yeah, and these have Blink as well, so he's going to be looking to pick up some bases or actually just jump straight into the army. As he has enough, he deems. That is so scary.
I just watched Scarlett's reaction there. Her mouth, it was just, she gasped, I think, at how many DTs there was just then. And it was a ton of them. And Scarlett, she doesn't have the money to just make anything she wants anymore.
Yeah, this is a strong position. Difficult to dislodge from Astrea as well. But, Waste is actually technically the last storm. And now with no AoE left, these Hydras are going to be just enough. Astrea is going to want to run back and save these units.
Just warping in so many units. Like, at one moment, they're equal in supply. And Astrea, he's like, heh, you like Lava Inject? I've basically got Lava Inject on my gateways right now. I can whip out any army I want in a matter of seconds.
Yeah, that's exactly the brand of StarCraft that he is playing, and he can. I mean, he has 80 workers for most of this game. Though Scarlett sits at 90 comfortably herself, so she also has a lot of leeway.
Oof. Yeah, you can't run at these lurkers. They just do too much damage too quickly, but oh man, that's quite a lot of DTs.
Yeah, but the DTs are going to face the same issue that Zealots face against the Lurkers. So they're going to be looking for opportunities to dive onto Hydras or small clumps of Lurkers and Lings. But otherwise, they're just going to have to be very patient. Okay, with this Lurkers moving out of position, perhaps the DTs can see an opening to snipe this base, and they will, I think.
Oh, I mean,
they're going to do it.
Yeah, they deal a lot of damage very quickly. And
he didn't spend the blink. Brilliant.
Oh my god.
He blinked away defensively, but I feel like he could have just sniped the base.
I think this was an okay trade though. 14 drones for DTs and like kind of mispositioning your opponent a little bit. Like look at his bank.
You're right. Yeah, one swipe each was 14 drones. I did not realize that was maybe better than the hatchery actually, given the real estate that Scarlett has.
Yeah, like it's his PvZ is really cool. It's weird, but it's cool. Oof. Lurkers, man. Pretty damn good unit.
They are amazing, especially once they have that Lurker range added to them. The DTs, again, looking for an opening, not gonna find it, but keeping the blink defensively. These are units that are very, very expensive gas-wise.
If I was to say anything here, I think Astrea has to start thinking about something that Lurkers can't shoot, which is up. Because the Lurker count, it's 25 Lurkers on the field. What are they going to do? Like, where does he try and go with this?
Oh my gosh. No, man, no! Hold me!
Oh my gosh. And
that was brutal.
That was super brutal, man. But Scarlett did just lose some supply somewhere on the map, but she can't be busted right now.
Yeah, and that's a problem. Astrea is kind of surging Scarlett, but Scarlett is protosing Astrea. So, yeah, we have the roles a little bit flipped here because Scarlett is playing excellent defensive game into a ground unit comp primarily in these Lurkers who are actively finding the space to poke back at the army of Astrea. Astrea looking for openings, but not really finding them. And the best thing that these DTs will be able to do in time, if they are unable to find any openings, is turn into Archons, which don't do particularly great against Lurkers either.
No, like Astrea still got the bank available. Okay, that is a nice little hug by the Zealots there on those Hydralisks and the DTs. There's a lot of DTs there, but
no observer.
5 Lurkers.
Yeah, maybe if there was an observer close by, Astrea might have been... Oh, there's a revelation. I think he's going for it, maybe. Yeah, he's going... Oh, but Scarlett moves 3 of the Lurkers. Way too smart for this. So, yeah, no. That's no longer the player. Oh, right, he's going for it regardless. But 2 Lurkers did not get tagged, and they will clean house. No!
It's got to be said, that wasn't the most cost-efficient trade in the world for Astrea.
I think he thought he spotted all the Lurkers. It's, you know, Ben, when you're in the game and you have a mental image of where all the units are, I think he just thought all the units are there because that's where he last saw them. Tags enough that his brain probably goes, okay, like I tagged all the units, but ends up blinking into 3 Lurkers that were not tagged because Scarlett moved them, right, preemptively. So that's all to her credit.
As much as I've liked Astrea's play being here, there, and everywhere, Scarlett's done such a good job of just establishing herself. And even though Astrea is going into carriers right now with upgrades and stuff, I think it should have come a lot sooner.
Yeah. That is quite possibly right. Either carriers or something like at least disruptors. Though you have to imagine Scarlett has easy access onto Vipers right now, so it's kind of weird. Oh, that was not expected from Astrea, and a lot of Banelings will crash onto 12 workers. Now Scarlett taking some leads, finally making some surgings for what feels like the first time in this game.
Yeah, like almost the first time in this tonight, actually. Oh, these storms are big on these Lurkers, though. And
Wow. Over eagerness, perhaps a huge round of Zealots. I'm not sure that's what you want against those Lurkers. And they will evaporate, but not before tanking enough damage for the carriers to potentially clear this out as the Immortals join the fray and don't even use them at this point. No.
Yeah, run them away, run them away. Oh my,
He will survive. He knew.
Obviously. But, okay, so the carriers have been revealed, and Scarlett was getting some air upgrades, and she's just like, you know what? 17 Corruptors all at once. 10 Lurkers. They've both exhausted their banks, which is saying a lot, because they were both rich as hell.
Yeah, Scarlett is truly one of the surgiest Zergs. I mean, she is kind of like Stefano in the sense that when she sees an opening, she will make a billion of whatever unit she needs, absolutely. And then, you know, if you don't answer to it in the way that she sees proper, she'll just continue to do the same thing. So it's been the Lurker game now joined by enough Corruptors to weather down these carriers. The Storm will not come into play until a little bit too late, unfortunately for Scarlett here. Or unfortunately for Astrea, rather.
Yeah,
their shield battery.
It doesn't look like it. I mean, this base was under flak a while ago, right? And the Archons, they're great against the Corruptors, but the Lurkers, they're great against everything on the ground.
Exactly. And without shield batteries, those carriers are going to have a tough time engaging that many Corruptors. So the probes are going to have to be evacuated. And Astrea will technically live to fight another day, but this is Scarlett's show for the last 10 or so minutes, honestly.
Yeah, it felt like maybe Astrea's practice has been against Zergs that kind of aren't patient, you know? Yeah. And so Scarlett just being patient and just weathering the storm quite literally. It's probably not what he's used to at all. Oof.
Yeah, I mean, most Zerg players will make Lurkers and you know, you get caught off position because your Lurkers are very positional and they'll be somewhere. And Astrea, I mean, we saw him have one War Prism north, one War Prism south, his army at the front, the Oracle in the back. It's very difficult to answer, but Scarlett is the kind of player who is willing to make 30 Lurkers, so she can just be everywhere.
I never realized how tanky Lurkers are, actually. That 200 health? What?
Yeah.
I'm kidding, I knew they had 200 health. But, yeah, they certainly are. Scarlett, by the way, with the air upgrade, she's already getting, like, +3 air weapons, and she's sitting at 2-2, so she was totally ready to go for any air units that were going to appear on the map.
Yeah, for quite a while. And this is because Astrea wasn't really transitioning that well. He was really looking for those openings and wasn't able to find them. That is, again, all to Scarlett's credit, who continues to establish her dominance in this game. Astrea kind of really low on supply. Scarlett has to continue to look to trade if she can. Those links can still turn into banelings, but Scarlett is pretty low on gas, so not looking to increase the power spike of this army composition so much as just trade with it.
Oh, okay, so Astrea is running in from a really nice angle, actually. Wow. The Archon's getting some big, juicy hits. The carriers are fighting against the Corruptors, but everything's melting away against this Zerg army.
Yeah, I mean, we have a situation where even if it wasn't melting away completely, it's Scarlett in the lead so strongly. But she is getting so many upgrades, it's almost a little bit greedy. I would love to see her start some queens, just because she has a billion resources, or a billion minerals. Instead, she will make 36 Zerglings. I guess she is getting all the Ling upgrades as well. So, yeah, that works.
Yeah, let's be fair. She is 100 supply ahead, and GG is called. Scarlett, she definitely brought the fire that game thus far, and she definitely did a lot of stuff really right. But one thing that she did do incredibly well is once it got to defending and just holding off Astrea, she did it incredibly well, and she just outlasted him, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what happened there. It was Astrea trying to find openings that he was never going to find because Scarlett knew what he was doing, essentially, and she was ready everywhere, better than I imagine just about anyone, because no one makes that many Lurkers, Ben. No one is willing to just play such a defensive game with barely any or no basically anti-air at all, right? She was morphing all of her Hydras into Lurkers and relying on that static defense and just weathering the storm. Like we have said time and time again, that was exactly what that map was. But next we're looking to go into Ice and Chrome, or like you like to call it, Ice and Dreams.
I mean, Ice and Dreams does sound like a dreamy map, let's be real. But yeah, like so going into the series from that game, Astrea definitely has to now kind of acknowledge the fact that Scarlett can defend really damn well. So does he necessarily want to drag out games like that, knowing that if it does go late, he kind of didn't have an answer to what Scarlett was doing. So that might change up the tempo of the series entirely.
Yeah, I think that he never got to the late game though. As weird as that sounds, it was a longer game, but he stayed in the mid game for a long time, looking for openings with those massive Zealot warpins, massive DT warpins. Yeah. So I think that he was in a position where if he transitioned earlier, and you were talking about this, the late game looks completely different. So I'm not sure that he has to, get some respect for Scarlett's late game so much as try to see what happens if he transitions instead of just staying in that mid game where, that flopped. I don't think we'll see that again. Not against Scarlett.
No, he was. So I talked about how he's beaten a lot of really good Terrans and stuff in the War Chest Team League. That looked very PvT-ish to me with the big Zealot DT warpins, and it was cool to see him try against Zerg because, DTs with the Shadow Stride are damn good, but Lurkers are better, man. They are quite a bit better, it seems, in that head-to-head.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is Astrea, I think, had very strong openings. At one point, I thought Scarlett was dead, actually, when Astrea first pushed out on the map. And he had so much going on for him in the main base, and Scarlett seemed to have gotten caught off guard. But why does my overlay have leaves? You stole my overlay. Really? Yeah. That's hilarious. I don't want it. All right, we might have to do a remake or something. That might be the Night Elf overlay that you got from Warcraft.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's probably what it is.
Should we RE? It's kind of distracting. Of course,
let's remake really quick.
Of course, we're gonna RE. You don't have to play with a leafy freaking overlay when you're in the finals of DreamHack North America, Australia.
Yeah, he said it's kind of distracting. It's like, yeah, of course it's kind of distracting. I mean, anything that messes with what you're used to, that takes you out of that flow, out of that comfort zone, that you want to get in that mindset where you're kind of merging in and becoming your units, like really inching close to it. Yeah, anything, any distraction will not do. So so let's change that overlay.
Absolutely. So if you guys want to know at home what overlay people use, well, Scarlett's apparently using the nice Night Elf Leafy overlay.
It's a nice one. I considered it.
Yeah. So what did I feel? I tried out a couple of them, but they all were a bit bigger than the default, and none of them showed the APM. I was like, oh, I can't be having that. I got to know how fast I am, Like, when that number hits a solid 100, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm really feeling it right now.
Yeah, I know that feels.
Boomer feels. Yeah, Boomer Central over here,
Yes, indeed. Now, I use the StarCraft 20th anniversary one, I think it is. The blue one that has kind of an animation. It's pretty cool. I like that one a lot.
It's pretty. Okay, we are getting right into the game again.
Yes, indeed. So we'll see if we get swapped positions. The fortunes might be changed in this happening, but that's a rather curious bug that you would steal your opponent's overlay. That's pretty cool.
I wish there was an overlay that was really, really terrible, given that, well, StarCraft doesn't actually have one that's really terrible, but I would pick it on purpose just to give it to my opponent and plug them out. These extra advantages, that you can possibly get.
A la Blai. Blai is very good at getting those. He would definitely do that somehow.
Certainly would. Okay, guys. Spawning over in the bottom left-hand side of Ice and Chrome, not Ice and Dream, Rotterdam, it is Astrea.
And top right-hand side, technically evening out the series, though realistically winning the first game of it, it is Scarlett.
And she definitely seems to be a lot more comfortable against Protoss than, some previous times of hers. And by the way, talking about the openings, like Astrea this game, he went for the hatch block. And, say if Scarlett did go for the 12 pool and he went for the early scout this game, it would have been like, damn, you're mixing it up, these openings. So I like the fact that Astrea has shown that he either doesn't scout at all or he scouts incredibly early. Because going on in that series, maybe he just goes back to no scouting just to be as greedy as possible. Because then it's just a gamble fest for both of them. I like it when Protoss are a bit cheeky like that.
Oh yeah, I think it's one of the strongest ways of being a Protoss because you have so many tech paths. You have to be deceiving. You have to be a little bit of a snake when playing Protoss. You have to catch your opponent off guard. You want to conceal information. You want to strike from the shadows.
He even put a Protoss splat in her base.
Disgusting. That is, I mean, if you're a Zerg player right now and you have a Protoss decal behind your mineral line, that is just awful.
The war is on already, my friends.
Yes, indeed. But yeah, and to your point, I actually didn't check, but one thing that would be interesting to check, for example, is as a result of Astrea not blocking the first game, Scarlett could send her drone a little bit later to the natural. If that happened, then her actual natural at the third would be later, because players have learned to account for the block, to where you send the drone a little bit earlier to account for it getting blocked, and it gets to your third just in time instead.
This probe is still behind enemy lines here. So what do you keep a probe out on the map for at this point? Is it just the fact that it can't be killed, or just making sure that you don't get ling flooded?
Yeah, it's both, right? Like the ling speed won't kick until like 330 or so, or 320. So the probe can stay out safely and can double check. Are you dropping a third? Are you making drones? Because otherwise, Zerg can really do some nasty stuff. And we were talking about some of that in the previous game, but there's some roach attacks that, if unscouted, are extremely difficult to hold, especially when you're going for adepts.
Okie dokie. So it is an Oracle coming out for Astrea. That is the first unit out of the Stargate. So not the Void Ray this time. Although, did he go for the Oracle first? I mean, it's the second game in a row that he's going for Stargate here.
Yeah. And he doesn't have anything to deny the vision of this Overlord either. So we were talking about being sneaky and such, and Astrea's not really doing that. He made 2 adepts. Defensively, these are not better than a Stalker, but of course it makes more sense to go for adepts oftentimes when going for the Stargate, because the timings are all so very precise that, you know, the extra gas that you spend in the Stalker might delay your Stargate or your Oracle. Yet still, I would have maybe liked a Stalker and a Seller or something, because these adepts are not getting anything done, and the Overlord for Scarlet does get a full scout and will be fully prepared this time around for the Oracle.
The Oracle is taking a nice little extra journey around the map, though. So one player that I watched very early on, it was MMA. He would send Banshee specifically right around the edge every time in his medevacs, right around the edge. And it would always be so much more difficult to deal with. Wow, this Oracle barely got anything done. Nice defense by Scarlett.
Yeah, excellent. And as Max Angel was getting to the main of Scarlet, I was wondering if Scarlett, because these players have to cut corners, right, all the time, I was wondering if Scarlett had cut, for example, the Spore in the main, in which case what Astrea was doing made perfect sense and would have killed, I don't know, a lot of workers, because Scarlett was expecting to defend at the third, right, which is the furthest away.
Okay, it's a fairly normal follow-up by Astrea. Like, we're seeing the Void Ray become a norm, actually, when you open up Stargate, seemingly.
Yeah.
But the Adepts afterwards, like on 3 gates, it's not super crazy. It's not going to super kill Scarlet, but it's not super greedy either. It's just a very respectable, normal opening, it feels like.
Yeah, he's going to have to look for some sort of... Oh, this could be helpful to his timing. Okay, never mind. But yeah, he's gonna have to look for some sort of a timing, because otherwise the expenditure into the adepts is not gonna be worth it. So here we go. It's a decent chunk of adepts that are gonna finish their glaives just in time to potentially do some damage. There are roaches on the way for Scarlet, but Astrea is certainly looking to do some damage with these. These are not units that scale up well.
No, and the roaches, they are what looks like perfectly timed by Scarlett. Like, they're just popping out right now as the, 10 adepts show up, but they are going over to the third base, kind of uncontested here. Adept Blaze still not finished. Okay, now it's finished.
Yeah, all of the roaches were actually at the main. This shade cannot really do it, I don't think. Oh, okay. It's a defensive shade, so I actually love that shade. Wow. Identifying that the roaches were still at the main, that would have been the doom of those adepts. Now he's going for those 2. Scarlet identifies that. Oh, I feel like Astrea could have actually... Oh, he still goes for the 2, actually. He had pre-decided that he was going for those 2, obviously, right? And Astrea and Scarlet identifies that. and switches her army trajectory.
Oh,
mostly for those. No!
I feel that was a big misplay by Astrea, and I think he thought he cancelled it. What did he just cancel just then? Was that a robo?
I'm not sure. He thought he canceled the shade, now canceled another building. Not something that you ever want to be doing. So things are looking pretty good for Scarlett. And I mean, this is quite amazing of a run. If she can actually become the champion here out of nowhere, it just really speaks to how good of a player she has. And she has been and continues to be throughout the history of this game. She's just incredible.
And you know,
I'm now coming on.
And then everything will be as intended, cats. Zerg winning EU, Zerg winning NA.
No.
You know, we finally thought that we had two newcomers that can do it in Clem and Astrea. Oh, that is them.
Yeah.
That is an adventurous immortal over here. And I you know, let's follow him.
Yeah, let's follow him on his journey to Nirvana, because he's definitely not coming back to Ire, that's for sure.
I
or
think that,
do Immortals resurrect?
I think
there's no saving it. You can't even recall it, right?
No, you can't even kill a creep tumor anymore. You know, since they became light armored.
Yeah.
This feels kind of bad for Astrea though, because in this last 2 minutes, he's really made quite a few errors that are very uncharacteristic for him, because he is truly an amazing player, but maybe the pressure is actually getting to him.
It's quite likely. I mean, we saw Neeb do something like that with the workers, and when you do those things, they may not have a huge impact in the game. Like, okay, it's an immortal, like you still have disruptors, there's still plenty to make up for in the fight, but as a player, you just feel off, and when things are going wrong over and over again, it's so difficult to recover mentally. So it's gonna take a lot from Astrea, not just in this game, but in the series, to stabilize.
Scarlett feels very much like watching Nurtio back in 2015 right now. Like Drop Lords, Roach, Hydra every game kind of thing. And the lurks as well. It is very Nurtio-esque. And Astrea, like, he's doing an attack, but he was lined up into Scarlett that was also doing an attack.
Yeah, and that is usually not a good thing, though. These disruptors actually do not get the best connections. The second one will not get any connection, but the force fields are amazing on the side of Astrea, and he's trading favorably at the south. He's gonna have to, I think, evacuate after this, but actually blinks forward a little bit surprisingly, and will get punished for it somewhat as Scarlett cleans this out.
It wasn't as decisive as Scarlett wanted, I don't think, despite the flank, but all the sentries have melted away. They've absolutely perished. And Scarlett, she's actually getting ready to do the counter attack, but she doesn't realize that she's running into a very, very crazy aggressive Astrea right now.
Yeah, and I love this by Astrea. Similarly to what Clem was doing with the Widowmites, he's kind of baiting into a disruptor shot, right? Not showing the disruptor at the front with the rest of the army, always microing it to the back of the line to make sure that it is as inconspicuous as it could be. And actually, this drop from Scarlett may not do what it was intended to do. Now the disruptor joining the fray. There's another shot incoming as well.
This felt like the funniest drop. Like, it just dropped on the front doorstep, right? I know it wanted to go to the main or something, but Astrea didn't let it happen. And this feels like Scarlett is now the one that's maybe falling apart a little bit here.
Yeah, this was a strange move, right? Because you have to expect there's a high chance that there is a fourth there, or a fourth being established there. So more often than not, I imagine you want to move with your army and maybe your overlords, and then potentially load them and unload onto the main. But instead, Scarlett was preloaded, maybe assuming that there was no fourth there. And you know, when you have to unload units from overlords or medevacs, they're not unloading all at once, so they're not doing all the damage that they could do all at once, and you're always in kind of an awkward position, right, under the overlords.
Certainly. Scarlett's kind of remaxing, slowly but surely. She was definitely maxed. She's always focused on very good upgrades, by the way, now hitting, just started +3 range weapons, +1 armor does start, and she's getting into a comfort zone right now, getting the lurkers out. But wow, she wants to be very aggressive again. And Astrea, he's in the total wrong section of the map.
Yeah, he's in the middle of nowhere as well. I mean, he's not in a position where he can just push and destroy a base and then recall or anything like that. He just has to recall into an unfavorable position where the army of Scarlett is already established. She's still looking to push on forward. She has, oh no, actually runs into the disruptor shot. Another one. Oh, DJ Khaled is happy somewhere. And those disruptor shots, they all connect. They're all as juicy as they could be. And Astrea with an unlikely cleanup and a very nice counter offense.
Yeah, he was caught out of position there, but he made something out of nothing. And Scarlett, she's trying to stick around here, trying to get all the damage she can done in the world, but losing a base behind all this against the run by of Astrea, that's really crucial.
Yeah, it's difficult to evaluate something like that because she sees an opening. The army of Astrea is way out of position, but she wasn't really able to capitalize. She has that middle position, but Astrea recalls fast enough, and those disruptor shots were just incredible. So a little bit rough because Scarlett also has the adaptive talents and the lurker transition inbound. So, you imagine that same attack with lurkers later with a maxed out army, and it's a very powerful opportunity that she's not gonna have. However, having the lurkers, at least that's an anchor that maybe she can restabilize defensively from.
Yeah, it's always weird when I see the Zerg be behind in supply, but the amount of power that she's got in her army now that she's up to Vipers and Lurkers, it's not just roaches alone anymore. But, oh, nice counter snipe by Astrea.
Wow.
They take a lot of shots, though.
Yeah, does kill 2 Vipers for his troubles, though, and those are the main counter to this army of Astrea because he does have disruptors and is making 2 more at a time. So he's not switching off of this. He has to rely on stalkers for now to get those snipes onto the Vipers, but killing 2 of those, amazing. Scarlett making 3 more there.
Oh, I love this with the DTs, and they're getting into multiple bases now. The drones hugging it to death, but quite a few of them do go down, and oh, no, it doesn't go down. Shadow Stride is finished up.
Yes, indeed. Here is another poke from Astrea. Now, the Disruptor is the greatest counter to the Lurkers, in my opinion, in so long as there are no Vipers. So, again, those snipes were extremely important for Astrea. And let's see if Scarlett can muster enough of an army to contend with this. The Vipers are now getting enough energy to kill all of these Disruptors, so at the same time, Astrea has to be very, very careful, as much as he has been stabilizing. This is a very dangerous position, and actually 3 of the Disruptors will get abducted right away and killed. So this is exactly what we were just talking about, Ben. But the DTs...
so this is more what Astrea wanted, right? Where he could get a Warp Prism inside the main base, start dealing damage, start wreaking havoc. He's adding on lots more gateways as well, so this is absolutely what he wanted. Oh, even blinked away into the Warp Prism as well.
Brilliant. And there is no more Overseers to be made on the side of Scarlett for a little while, as she has just started her new lair. So, yeah, Astrea has a lot of breathing room here.
He's on 88 probes, by the way, and gateway count, he's on 8, producing 7 more. And I guess just as importantly, he can't produce any more Vipers, or rather, she can't produce any more Vipers as well.
Yeah. She does have a decent number in 4, but they're going to be extremely... if Astrea keeps getting those snipes with the Stalkers, things could get complicated quickly, because if the Disruptors of Astrea are left unchecked, there's nothing that Scarlett can do to stop their the carnage that follows.
No, Scarlett's definitely doing a good job of just retaining the fact that she has a decent army and can continue making it. And I love this as well, just making sure she's getting enough static defense, just respecting the fact that Astrea's game plan doesn't necessarily seem to be to make a super army, just seems to be to try and multitask her to death.
Yeah, and that is the plan that didn't work in the first game. He is in a much better position this time around, so maybe. And he also has better tools against Lurkers. In Stalkers, they're not great against Lurkers, but they're better than Zealots. And he has some Immortals, and of course the Disruptor is the key piece that he does have this time around that could allow him to break into these more defensive positions, along with the fact that Scarlett is not nearly as rich or well established on the map. Regardless, Ben, I would love to see a transition earlier this time.
Yeah, I would absolutely love for him to start getting the air upgrades at least. I mean, you've got the Cyber Core, it's not doing anything for the time being. This is... I always love the Shadow Stride, man.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, Ben, you have the Cyber Core, you have the map, you have more workers than your opponent at this point. So there we go! Now we're talking, Ben!
That is more the transition that I was after. Like, if he did this on Everdream when he was ahead, I think it would have been perfect.
Yeah.
But I do love the fact that he's evolving as the series is going on and kind of realizing that he's allowed to switch earlier, because it's too killing Scarlett with just the gateway army. It's impossible, I think.
Yeah, exactly, and it's a point to make about his opponent in this case, right? It's Scarlett that is just seemingly unkillable when she gets a ton of lurkers, and I mean they are perhaps like one of the best, if not the best, defensive tool that Zerg has. So yeah, it's the right assessment, I think, to start this transition, even though he can't necessarily sustain the production from all of those targets. He has the availability for the switches, and that is what's important here. Now starting 3 carriers.
You say he doesn't have the ability to sustain it, but he is on 88 probes.
I just mean supply-wise, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I was like, he is a rich boy, Cats. Like, he's pretty damn rich.
Yeah, he has to trade first, though. He has to trade some army in order to, you know, get the production going, is what I mean. The Stargates are gonna be idle, and they were planned on being idle after this carriers pop out, is my point.
He's done a really good job of just getting cannons and shield batteries on all his bases as well. Like,
yeah.
Even though we see that he's been very, very, very aggressive, he's also done a good job of just making sure that there aren't any cracks in his play, it feels like.
Yeah. And he is securing these bases indeed, but we have kind of a split map scenario, or at least that's where we're headed to. So, I don't know. I'm feeling better and better for Scarlett, right? Just from the position that she was in, which seemed very, very dire. It seems like she is finding some stability once again, similarly to the first game. But now Astrea finding a strong opening, only 1 lurker burrowed in that base. Will he be able to capitalize? Looks like not.
This is a good attack, though, in the sense that it's not a, hey, look, I'm trading out supply right now attack. It looked like it wants to deal damage. Yeah. So I like those kind of little things by Astrea.
Good point. Great point, actually. So if he gets a little bit of damage and loses a little bit of army, that's kind of exactly what he wants. Whoa! All the disruptor shots at once. A little bit ambitious, but hey, if your opponent can't really capitalize on it, why not, right? If your opponent can't link swarm after you do all that, it's great. It's good. He was looking to catch Scarlett off guard, wasn't able to, but good attempt.
Everything I said about giving a few DTs and zealots away, well, it was like, he just threw the probes at her, so it was, yeah.
That's the tell. That's the tell for sure.
She now knows a tech switch of some sort is coming.
Oh, yeah.
Oi.
Yeah, and some sort is usually carriers at this stage. There's, you know, there's very few people that have any belief in the Tempests in this matchup or in general, right? Like, of course, they would have a little bit more wiggle room if there was like a Broodlord transition and for very specific situations. But generally speaking, the carrier is going to be the backbone of the Protoss army in this stage of the game. And Scarlett has to know that.
It is very interesting to me because this is kind of the Astrea that I saw against Dark that I was like, wow, it's very impressive that he goes toe-to-toe in the late game kind of thing. But it is scary to me that he wants to go late game against Zerg in general. Because, you know, you called it, he stayed in the mid game for a long time in the last game. This is late game.
Yeah, we're getting there.
We are. What is late game for you, Cats?
Well, a few less zealots, more storm, more carriers, right? Like Mothership. There's still a little bit to go. Like you probably want. I think there's an Oracle out there for relational already. There is. Yeah, the disruptors are a nice addition. There's no storm is the only thing maybe missing. But yeah, I mean, yeah, we're getting there. 7 carriers is a pretty chunky army.
Yeah, so you're the Neve versus Rogue, the 1 probe kind of. That's the late game for the Protoss, you know.
Wait, what? Oh, okay, the Fist of Neve you're talking about?
Yeah.
The Fist of Neve is the only true late game.
Yeah, that's the only true late game, man.
Yeah, you're right, man. This is very much a late game. It's just not ultra late game, I guess. Yeah.
No,
like they're not done. They're not done picking up. Is my point.
Let's be real.
Enhancing.
Let's be real. This is early game. He still has 75 probes, man. He needs to get rid of 74 of those. Mine out the map.
Yeah. I mean, compositionally, they're not done yet, but hey, no, 2 of those carriers get abducted all the way back, actually. So Scarlett very diligent with those abducts, does not want to fight anywhere near the rest of the army of Astrea, but Astrea thought, you know, that's too threatening because again, there's no storms and no backbone to the ground army of his for now.
Like I'm not worried about Astrea dying, but I'm worried about him not being able to kill Scarlett. Okay, now I might be a bit worried about him dying.
Yeah, but I'm not sure I like this move from Scarlett. Okay, now she's bringing all of her army, but if those units got caught before the Corruptors and the Vipers showed up by the carriers, that could have been terrible. With this said, now the Corruptors and the Vipers are in excellent position to actually snipe these carriers, and with the aid of that watchtower, that will be made easy. And Astrea really needs some Templars. You need them for the feedback. They outrange the Viper by 1, so they're an excellent tool if you can keep vision of the Vipers to prevent any of that going on. And the Storm, of course, against the Corruptors is gonna be super important, as well as the ability to make Archons from gas whenever needed in order to deal with those Corruptors further. So Astrea now adding a little bit more complexity to his army, but Scarlett not looking to give him much time.
Oh, Scarlett's doing really good, by the way, with these Corruptors and Vipers, like constantly getting value and dealing damage over here as well.
Brilliant. Not overcommitting either. Oh, I thought he was gonna back. Oh, come on. No, do not overcommit, please. Okay. Now she backs.
If she ran right in there, which would have been suicide, that'd have been so funny. That'd have been as close to tasteless when it was like, it worked! When the Banelings ran in, killed like nothing.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was really scary. I mean, yeah, moving in there without information of where the army of Astrea was, but Scarlett's too good for that, realizes it, and backs away. So a lot of disruptors, now some Templars, but it's only 5 with 1 storm each, so I'm not sure that Astrea should be feeling too confident here, moving across. Gotta save it for the Corruptors as well.
It's rough though, isn't it? Because it's like, what does he wait for? Because in his head, maybe... Nah, in his head he knows Scarlett's going to be close to, if not maxed out, and pretty rich as well. Oh, it's a rough one.
He's getting a couple more oracles to keep his revelations up. Maybe looking to trade some of the... Oh, excellent disruptor shots, actually. My only reservation is the amount of energy and the amount of Templars. There's only 5 and only 2 more storms available. I think if he utilizes them carelessly, then Scarlett can engage onto this army and still trade okay. But all that said, all the interceptors are deployed, and so far Astrea is taking a decent trade. Here come the Corruptors, and they will be one-shotting carriers. There is no storm, and this is why I was scared, Benny. The Corruptors, I think, are doing it, still one-shotting the carriers. This might be game-ending.
And Astrea thinks that he's killed all the lurkers, but then he sees, oh my gosh, there's quite a few left over. Loses his whole air fleet. More Corruptors being made, by the way. I think, okay, I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the production tabs because there's Void Rays on the way now. +3 weapons. Air weapons is being done. Void Rays are pretty darn good against Corruptors, but it's not as if...
Parasitic Bomb, though.
Yeah. Parasitic Bomb, and also the fact that there's actually going to be like 36 Corruptors or something, and 36 exactly.
Really? That's awesome. Yeah, it's problematic. I mean, you're kind of running low on options if you're Astrea, and that's weird to say when you have a 7k bank. But more disruptors being produced. This base will get taken down. I mean, he still has that bank, and he's still maxed, but these are not the units he wants, really, and he has to be careful with his gas bank. So I don't even fault him for making Zealots right now. It's not the army that he wants to fight head-on against the army of Scarlett, but he's kind of pacing to where if he just commits on the best army that he can and he loses it, it's done. So it's kind of like hedging your bets, trying to maybe trade some of these Zealots for a base or something like that. I don't really like him clumped up against Lurkers. We saw what Lurkers can do in the previous games. So we'll see what Astrea chooses to do here. It's still an ongoing game, though.
I'm struggling to think of what does he make. Like, Lurkers kill everything on the ground. Corruptors and Vipers kill everything in the air. It's
Templars, man. He just needed more Templars. I mean, yeah, I think so. I mean, Scarlett waited to engage until all the storms were done. It's so difficult to engage when those storms are still active. I think the problem with the army composition of Astrea before was that he kept so much of his prior army that he had a lot of disruptors, right? And he had a lot of ground army perhaps that he didn't want, and he also has less workers than Scarlett, by the way. So his army is just a little bit smaller. But these are pretty good ram buys. This is what he was looking to do with the Zealots, and it's doing pretty good. 15 workers have gone down.
Yeah, it's definitely a bit of damage. Like, he's causing some chaos across the map, right? And you are right. The Corruptors wouldn't have been able to just pounce on everything. Man, these ram buys are definitely getting damage done.
Yeah, more damage than Scarlett wanted to afford. At some point, she wanted to get rid of some of those drones. But right now, her economy is actually pretty bad. It's 38. So now we have Scarlett flipping into a situation where if she's not able to close out a fight super decisively and crush Astrea, she's gonna start lagging as the game progresses.
Yes, but I feel that this mainly worked out just because Scarlett forgot about the run buys. Whereas now that she knows, now she can have the lurkers kind of nicely positioned, because the lurker count kind of got reset a little bit before that happened. Oh. Yeah. Is that a hallucination?
No, I think it was a real whatever it was.
Okay.
Because I saw a corpse.
A corpse? What? Okay.
Wait, what are you talking about? I was talking about the abduct.
Yeah, I was talking about the abduct. Yeah, I was like, what kind of Protoss unit leaves a corpse? They all just evaporate, dude.
They all do. Whoa.
All right.
My God, Ben, you and your low settings, man.
Dude, I'm using medium. Oh, okay, so Astrea, like, he is doing a decent job with the feedbacks and stuff, does lose one of his bases, but the thing is, okay, nice disruptors.
Yeah,
He's
look at the
rich
bank.
as hell.
I mean, this is decent for Astrea. This is good for Astrea. If he keeps doing this, he's gonna be pretty happy. A lot of lurkers actually being caught exposed. And again, Scarlett has not remade any of those drones, and she's actually having to make Zerglings that are going to be, they're kind of panic Zerglings at this point. At some point, she should perhaps have considered remaking the drones, but instead she has gone for a very Sue-esque response to the Protoss late game, which is a one-punch army, right? She's looking to destroy the army of Astrea by sheer numbers at this point. She has to look for an engagement where they're both maxed, and she has such a low worker count that she just destroys everything on the ground and on the air. She's gonna get started here, it seems like, decently. But let's not forget, these lower trades in the middle of the map, Astrea can make up for because he has all the money in the world. So he'll continue to remake stuff back at home.
He does, but what does he make, Hats? What does he make in this this very close to late game, but not quite late game kind of situation here?
I think just about anything, Ben. He's doing great for the last, I think, 3 or 4 minutes. I think he's been taking very good trades, and I like that he's pacing himself as far as like the gas to mineral ratio to where he's getting to the point where his last army, if he chooses to go for his last army at some point, will be very well balanced in terms of his minerals to gas ratio, because he's managed to dump so many resources effectively into these Zealots.
Yeah, and like it's not as if he's running dry super soon. Like, he's still mining healthily off some bases, and I like the fight that's happening for that bottom right base. That is so many DTs, man.
Yeah, I don't like that. They have the same exact weakness of the Zealot, and Scarlett has been so good at defense. You're kind of doubling down on Zealots, but you're spending gas for it, is how I view those DTs added to that army, right? Your opponents, I mean, she's not going to catch Scarlett without Overseers or without a Spore anywhere, I think, at this point. Though these Disruptors could be huge! Oh! The perfect shot actually takes, well, nearly perfect, taking now all 5 of those lurkers for free. And Scarlett cannot afford to keep remaking just about any of these units. Her bank is nearly depleted now.
Yeah. And
oh, this beast!
Wow.
Okay.
Well, Astrea's now down to 100 supply.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this Zealot and DT Rambites right now. The positions are too well established on the side of Scarlett. She already has the lurkers. I mean, that was the best opportunity that he was gonna get as far as pouncing on the lurkers, because they were in the front, exposed without any units or spines nearby, and it wasn't that many of them. And still, it's not a greatly cost-efficient trade. So. Yeah, this is the place to spend your gas bank, I think. Disruptors and Templars, and if you want, maybe some air units back up. But I like that he's not even committing to that, because Scarlett's army is just the Corruptors, right? So
yeah,
if you don't make any air units.
like it's still 36 corruptors in the air that are practically useless at this point. They're just kind of wobbling around, not really doing much. And if Astrea's game plan was to, oh my gosh, I mean, these Zealots against these Lurkers and stuff, they're not really getting that much done.
Yeah, I mean, the Zealots are somewhat disposable, so this is not the worst thing in the world. The mineral bank is not as important, though he has run through most of it by now, right? He had something like 7k or 8k mineral bank at some point, so he really, I feel like the next fight needs to be contesting one of these positions from Scarlett with a bigger chunk of his army, maybe with those Disruptors in the mix or something of the sort. By the way, those Oracles could kill those 2 Hydras and start putting some work onto those. Oh, it's 3 Hydras.
That's a lot of DTs.
Oh, you don't like it.
That was one of those moments where I was like,
Banelings and Lurkers.
Yeah, is he going to blink on them? In fact, the Banelings are great for the anti-blink. Oh.
Yeah.
Yes, they are. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Banelings and Lurkers, that's the hardest counter to DTs. And oh, nice move there by Astrea, morphing one of those DTs. Actually, he might just have enough with the Zealots coming in. These Lurkers are trading so efficiently, though. Man, the supplies are actually in favor of Scarlett, but it's mostly Corruptors. So this game is not even done. But my God, do I feel like Astrea is placing a little bit too much, stake on these DTs throughout the entire series?
Yeah, Astrea's just like, man, it must be late in Europe right now for the Muslim, right? I'm gonna make these games go really long and just throw away like so many Zealots and DTs, but they don't get much done, man. They don't get much done.
All right, well, the caster curse is all he needed to snipe a hatch, I guess, right before the spore gets there.
Is that the BM?
No, that's terrible. Astrea does not want to be trading probes at this point. He's now fallen below 100 supply and depleted his entire bank. I mean, what do you say about this game? There's 36 Corruptors. So,
they can't. Well, I mean, it means you can't go.
Yeah, that's 62 army supply. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But that's 62 army supply tied to the air. So the supplies are still deceitful. Though this Disruptor's getting caught would be gigantic. DTs with a defensive link that might have gotten them killed, but perhaps not with those cannon reinforcements. Astrea trying to make do with what he has and actually finds the last or one of the last mining bases of Scarlett somewhat exposed. Might be able to clean this drones or the hatchery up. I would have rather him go for the drones at this point. Anything's difficult to remake.
This is
what a crazy game.
This is just brutal, man. Like, look at this resources lost tab. It's 83k lost for Astrea versus 58k for the Zerg. You know, like, Zerg's meant to be the slightly less efficient race.
Yeah.
But here we see that Astrea just threw the whole everything at Scarlett, and Scarlett just persisted.
Yeah, I mean, that was a very impressive game and comeback, quite honestly, again, from Scarlett. So she has to be feeling pretty good about the late game. But again, I would love for Astrea to add a few more Templars to that initial army composition. And I think he could have traded much more efficiently against the many Corruptors that Scarlett made, and then maybe you have an opening to remax on the air. He felt compelled to keep remaxing on the ground, but honestly, Ben, Zealots and DTs, just not what you want to be going against Lurkers.
Not what you want. And guys, with that, we're going to a short break and find out who will be taking this series after this break.
Welcome back. Astrea started with a lead, but now it's Scarlett that has taken it. It is 3 a.m. for you, Ben. How are you feeling there? How are you holding up?
You know, I'm fresh. I wish I had some monster on me because this water just ain't cutting it anymore, cats. It ain't cutting it.
Yeah, I wouldn't think so. I saw you were streaming earlier as well. Were you? I believe you were. Or do you think that's a different day? I saw you confused just now.
I was streaming earlier, and you know what? I got school in the morning as well tomorrow, cats. I'm all about this crazy life right now, you know?
Yeah, so this is just about what, like 24 hours of StarCraft or something for you in a row, huh? A bit long day at work, Ben.
Just about. And then tomorrow I'm going to the Svenska skolan. Going to be saying Mickey Bra and all that. And yeah, it's gonna fry my brain.
Eat some kanickebröd.
Kanickebröd, yeah. They're like, my teacher's gonna look at me. It's gonna be like, Ben, did you have another late night again? I'm gonna be like, yeah, but I was working, sir. And it'll be like, yeah, right. And the dog ate your homework, huh? And I'm like, yeah.
But I was working again. Have you used that one before, Ben?
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
All right. Well, I am thrilled for this map because it is my favorite map and two of my favorite players as far as playstyles is concerned. So spawning in the bottom right-hand side as the red Zerg player and leading 2-1 now, it is Scarlett.
And currently 1-2 down, even though he's technically yet to take a map against Scarlett. It is Astrea.
Oh, you hear that at the end? I liked it.
Yeah, it was beautiful, man. Nice little riff on it.
Indeed. All right, so yeah, you were talking with Smix in the break about your cats. They bring you some presents. Yeah, is what you guys were calling it. What all do they bring?
So I think the weirdest thing that one of my cats has brought is a snake.
What?
Yeah.
How big?
Maybe like 30 centimeters. Like it wasn't a.
Oh God, snake, that's long. I mean, that's long for me. Like, I'd be very scared.
Dude, they eat everything. Like one day as well. Like I found
wait, the snake was alive or dead?
Oh, it was dead. It was dead.
Okay.
But like, they bring in so much alive stuff. Like it's ridiculous. Like I live out in the woods, right? And we got the cats to keep mice out. But these cats, they are bonkers, man. Like freaking a rat the other week, like an actual rat, not just a mouse. It was massive. Yeah, ridiculous. Anyhow, StarCraft. You're taking advantage of 3 a.m. Ben.
I love 3 a.m. Ben, man. And this is a little bit of a cat and mouse game as well, as the adepts are gonna look to go on to the other side of the map to chase and kill some Zerglings. There is a very fast Twilight Council coming on the side of Astrea, but otherwise neither player really utilizing the map up until this point.
I'm mainly wondering about Astrea's mindset here because I've spent a bit of time looking at the webcams and stuff and seeing the players, and even though they've both like kept themselves composed, it was very obvious that Astrea was getting a little bit like that feeling of frustration, not necessarily tilting or anything, but I wonder if he's just going to bring a different pace of game altogether and a different plan as well.
Yeah, during the break, actually, Smix is a people person, so she, of course, is looking at the cameras intently as well. And she noted exactly what you were saying about Astrea, yes, but also about Scarlett, that there was kind of a sigh of relief of sorts after that last game. And you know, that tension release really speaks to some degree to the fact that maybe Scarlett isn't sure how well this late game is going to play out going into those games. And also, obviously, StarCraft is an incredibly tense game, and usually you don't get to relax until it's over. But I imagine Scarlett's gonna be pretty comfortable and confident now in that area of the game, whereas Astrea has to be feeling a little bit more lost, right?
I mean, he has to be, and he's resorting to something that is a bit more old school. So
and classical.
Yeah, so the 4-gate DTE drop, where it turned into like double Archon drop, was very popular. Then it became the 3-gate DT, which is what Astrea's doing here, which hits faster. In fact, this one isn't going to be hitting faster. But yeah, it's just a different branch of Protoss, and he's going to be opting for a very fast third base again, I think, with this. But we'll see
and
what
it's
happens.
not hitting faster because he has these adepts. So these adepts are decoy, and they're basically saying, hey, make some roaches, don't make spores, make spines if you want, but don't make spores. Unfortunately for Astrea, Scarlett is super ready for this, and she already has an Overseer out. So these DTs are not going to find anything. They're going to have to morph into Archons like you were saying. But the Archons are going to struggle against the roaches as well. So this is a very strong opening on the side of Scarlett. Those DTs, though, they might get a cancel on this, and that would be good enough.
Yeah, even though she has the Overseer out and the roaches and stuff, getting your third base cancel, that sucks.
Yeah, she gets caught out of position, but that is somewhat to Astrea's credit because he shades basically towards the roaches. So you never want to run away your roaches from a shade and onto a different position, right? So Scarlett probably thinks this is the perfect position to defend the roaches or to defend the shades, and that's where she has her roaches, and that opens up the space for Astrea to actually kill the third, and that is the best. I don't know. He had really good starts in both of the previous games. So yeah, I was gonna say that's the best start he's had, but I'm not even sure that's true. It's a good start though.
It is a good start. Like you were talking about how Scarlett seems prepared, and she did, but still everything kind of went wrong that could go wrong, it felt like. And even those adepts in the end, they're getting like 8 drones for 4 adepts. It's not necessarily the worst thing in the world.
It is super extra bad because when you're prepared, that is an investment in itself. So when you're prepared and take damage, super duper extra bad.
Oh, this DT just sat next to that third base that's going up, and will it get cancelled again?
Not this time around. It's just the one.
Oh, actually gets picked off. How do you feel about the blink follow-up here? And taking the gold base as well. I mean, I love everything that Astrea is doing this game.
I love it as well. Conceptually, I think that the blink and the gold are kind of, go hand in hand because blink stalkers can actually go to the back of that mineral line easily and are extremely mobile. At the same time, Scarlett is going for Mutas, and Astrea is going to catch wind of it just now, I think, with this hallucinated Phoenix. So as much as I do love Astrea's plan, Scarlett's plan plays really well into Astrea's plan if left unchecked. The blink, now if Astrea pushes with a huge army before the Mutas are out, and while Scarlett is taking up to Hydras and 2+2, this could be deadly. This is one of the better timings that Astrea can hit. So yeah, let's see if we can capitalize on it.
Scarlett knows it's coming though. Like, she's morphing in a lot of Ravagers here, getting out quite a few Roaches, but supply-wise, like, you want to be way more ahead with Roaches in this. But Astrea, is he just giving Scarlett a little bit too much time here? A bit too much respect, maybe?
Maybe so, but I mean, the reaction from Scarlett is just pristine here in the sense that she has a Spire done, but chooses to morph all the Ravagers instead. It's such a difficult decision to make as a Zerg player. So really respecting this attack. Will she be able to hold? I'm not sure. There are no Zealots and only 1 Archon, so I would really love to see Link reinforcements. I'm not sure. Is Link speed not available or something? It's not available. That's why she's not doing it.
Oh, and Astrea, he's actually getting a supply lead, and wow, a quick win from Astrea, and he ties up the series there. So nice play by him. He brought a different pace of game this time, and I liked it, honestly.
Yeah, it was great. Everything kind of went in his favor, and it really kind of shouldn't have-ish. I mean, he had a great move with that Adept Shade. I really want to place emphasis on that because that's what makes it so that Scarlett is definitely out of position for those DTs sniping the third, and that kind of set the pace for his attack. Not so much an all-in, but a very committed attack. And yeah, Scarlett getting caught off guard for sure. Did the best that she could, morphs all the Ravagers, but without Link speed. And that is one of the things that she cut to have that Overseer and to have those Roaches following up for the potential Archon drop after the DTs should have done nothing, right? She doesn't have Links. So Astrea capitalizing on that makes basically no AoE units, only Stalkers, no Zealots, and crushes.
Yeah, it was very nicely planned out by Astrea, and I think also his micro with the Warp Prism and the units there, it feels like utilizing those well, it made a massive difference in the opening. Like the Oracle and stuff, obviously that you can be very nicely micro and stuff, but it feels like there is more counterplay to the Oracle available with the Queens and the Spores and stuff, whereas the Warp Prism, depending on how you shade and how you drop and how you pick up and stuff, there's a lot more micro potential, I feel, with that. And it just went really good. It felt like it played much more like Astrea should be playing against Scarlett to me.
Yeah, and I like that he was placing all of his bets on those DTs as well. He wasn't like splitting one DT into the natural or trying to drop the main where he might get the most damage done if he finds an opening, right? But rather go straight for the third after perhaps he spots that one overseer puts all of the chips on the table there, and it works out beautifully. So now we are loading into the next map with a nice change of pace from Astrea. So we'll see if it continues to work as the series, I believe, is now even, right? This is already an epic series.
It's already 2-2. And now Astrea did start off 1-0 because he actually came from the winner bracket. Scarlett's the one that had to work her way up after defeating Neeb. So it's a real slugfest for her, actually. She just beat Neeb. Now she's going up against Astrea. Like, these are some very good Protosses, but she's handling herself remarkably well and actually going the full distance in these games too, like the full 10 yards with the defense and stuff she's pulling out.
Yeah, and really, Scarlett has had such a great run over the last month, not just defeating Neeb and everyone to get here, but also Artosis and Tasteless. That is quite an impressive run.
Oh, certainly. Speaking of impressive runs, though, this man spawning over in the top left-hand side of Death Aura, playing for Team Alpha X, it is Astrea.
And in the bottom right-hand side of the map, as the red Zerg player who is looking not to get adapted yet again, it is Scarlett.
You know, one thing I've noticed about the webcams, and this is me talking about the Zergs that I've seen so far. So this is Scarlett, Vanya, Raynor. They have all had incredibly dark rooms. Now,
yeah, that's kind of how our rooms usually look like. If you're not Cyril or Raynor, you're usually a sad Zerg, man.
A sad Zerg?
I'm not sure what patterns you're looking for here, Ben, the dark rooms.
I don't know. It's just, me and McCanning, we're charismatic and charming. We have books behind us. Zergs?
Oh, that is true. Yeah.
Sad Zergs, man. Sad Zergs.
Yeah. Sad kek. Lambo has a sad kek emote as his team as well. They were a little bit emotional, the Zergs.
A little bit. I always thought it would probably be the Terrans being the emos, They're, I remember Rotterdam saying something funny. It was like his brother had a kid, right? And he posted a photo and the kid looked a bit like it was frowning, it was sad, it was crying, something like that. And people asked him, is that a Terran? I was like, oh my God. So these, I love the reputations that the races have,
Yeah. And I wouldn't say it's completely inaccurate either. I think that, Terrans, Ben, you guys have a tendency to kind of slip in the complaints here and there, low-key oftentimes.
I had nothing to do with it. This whiny breed of Terran, this was not me. Okay,
yeah.
Totally was. I definitely probably had a part to play.
A little bit, maybe. But who hasn't? I mean, we all have our biases, of course.
Hey, I'm redeemed now.
You're redeemed.
Redeemed.
Hells yeah. Starport coming in, Ben. So yet again, Astrea not really switching it up. And I mean, why should he? In the early game, at least, everything seems to have gone his way for most of these games. It's just those mid-game to late-game transitions that have not been working out in his favor.
Certainly. I'm just... Cats, what's the longest you've ever been awake?
I'm not sure, but maybe 34 hours or something insane.
Why?
I've done 24-hour streams and then, yeah.
Oh, and then stayed up extra?
Or before the stream, perhaps. I don't. Maybe that's exaggerating. Maybe maybe like 24, maybe 26 or 27 hours, I imagine. I don't know.
Really? If I did a 24-hour stream, I think I'd start as soon as I woke up.
And you don't do anything else? Like, I don't know. Like, no
so.
breakfast? No breakfast? No shower?
Okay.
No exercising, Ben?
Well, I exercised my mind, okay? There was a recent study done on, like, chess players when they're playing a tournament. They can burn up to, like, 6,000 calories.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, the brain burns a lot of calories, in fact. But yeah, it will never get you... the rest of your body doesn't really get much of a great physical shape from it, at least from the experiments that you and I have been running for 20 years, Ben.
I don't know. I think gamers are pretty studly, you know? I know some solid-ass gamers. Like, Bling, he was built.
Yeah,
he was built, man. Like, that's all I'm saying. And okay. So this game, we have lots of Phoenix being made, and he has been saving them up. How do you feel about this one?
I like it. I love it, actually, because of exactly what you just pointed out to. He's been saving them up. He's been sneaky about it. Now, here comes the reveal with only 3 Phoenix. I'm not sure that I like this as much. They're going to be looking for drones. They cannot pick off queens at this point in time. Actually running past the first hurdle of queens, similarly to what we saw in his last attempt, but is going to run into Ace 4 and only manages to kill 2 drones, leveraging a lot of the HP on the Phoenixes and the energy on 2 of them as well.
Oh, okay. I mean, so he did kind of give away Phoenix and, you know, those like 1 or 2 spores not yet done. But so far, he's probably hoping for a lot more than this. And Scarlett, she's actually making so many Zerglings right now. She's marching units across the map. She doesn't want to be dealing with this.
I absolutely love this. This is her trademark, right? She will put on the gas pedal, like I was saying. Whatever units counter what her opponent is doing at a given point in time, she will lean on heavily. And that is exactly what the Lynx do for her, at least on paper. Phoenixes are very bad at dealing with Zerglings. And now that she has carved through most of the adepts with the aid of the roaches, she will find a path. Is this it, Ben?
I'm not sure. Wait, the gateway blocks it off, but the pylons go down. But rewalled by Astrea. He's holding on as much as he can, right? But he's still producing more Phoenix to try and deal with this. And I mean, that is kind of the right choice, right? Because more Phoenix means more lifts, means more ground units die. But oh, this is rough for Astrea.
Yeah, it's difficult not to make Phoenix because, you know, if you lift anything, it dies.
But
at the same time, you don't want to make Phoenixes against Lynx, and that's all Scarlett is making. She's got 22 more Zerglings on the way, so Astrea is gonna need to make another 1,000 walls or something like that, and I don't think Scarlett is gonna afford him the opportunity. She is now gonna get into the natural and breach into the main as well. This game is all but over, Ben. We're watching the final moments as Scarlett will take a decisive lead in the series.
You know, that was pretty awesome, actually. Like, it was very, very decisive, as you put it. The last 2 games have been very much about, I'm going to kill you, and then I'm going to kill you back. So, guys, this is the final break of tonight, and we will find out who will walk away DreamHack NA's champion. Stay tuned.
And we are back once again, perhaps for the final game. I mean, it is match point for Scarlett. Ben, you are a trooper. You look like you are both the most alive and the most dead individual at the same time. How does that work?
What can I say, cats? What can I say? You know, I'm here. I'm enjoying myself. I am slightly dying, but guys, this is StarCraft. You know, we live and breathe this game. We die for this game. And here, it's 3:20 a.m. here in good old Sweden, and I'm getting to cast Astrea versus Scarlett, and we're actually, it's a good series so far between these guys.
Yeah, it's a really great series. And also another shout out to Mapu observing at 10 a.m. from Japan. So another trooper. Plus the production in Sweden, also 3 a.m. for all of them. So shout outs to everyone working this event, as well as Mix, of course, in the back, just to round out all the shout outs for this potential final game. In the top right-hand side of the map, as the Protoss player, it is Astrea for Alpha X.
I like that you just remember the team name afterwards during the riff. But anyhow, spawning over in the bottom left-hand side, it is Scarlett.
Alrighty. So Astrea with a very quick hatch block this time around. And Scarlett will be forced to take that third instead. Nothing out of the ordinary otherwise. A low ground wall off on the side of Astrea, pretty standard Protoss stuff. You don't want those pesky Zerg all-ins. If you're spotted as a Protoss player without a wall off, it's incredibly difficult to defend a lot of Zerg all-ins, similar to what we saw Scarlett doing last time around, for example, flooding with dozens of lanes.
I do like what we said earlier about the scouting, by the way, from Astrea. Like, he's been very different about his probe timings.
Yeah.
Just kind of making things difficult, not allowing the Zerg to really know what they can get away with and what they can't get away with. Like, because the one game where you're like, okay, I'm going to go for a 14 hatch, because, you know, you're worried about the probe turning up really early, and then it doesn't at all, and you're like, oh, yeah, gosh darn. Like,
yeah, then you've just cut yourself, right? Basically, you've just burned yourself. So it's not a good thing to happen, but... Oh,
you said cut yourself. I was like... Okay, I thought you said cooked yourself. I was like, oh my god, like
cooked?
Giggling. Oh.
You thought I said something inappropriate, and then you said it? I love it.
Well, I mean, it would absolutely, it would have absolutely made sense for the, like, what can I say? What can I say? 3 a.m. Ben, sure, man. 3 a.m. Ben.
All right. Well, we have another Twilight Council opening, this time around, not the Stargate right away, actually. So it's a little bit different on the side of Astrea. Maybe looking for a cheeky Adept victory. Only 2 workers in the main gas. Not usually what you see. So and the workers are actually rallied to the natural. So I think this might be a little bit of an oversight on the side of Astrea. But who knows? Maybe it's in there.
Let's see what happens with this. Like, because the one game that he's won so far has been the DT drop and DT shenanigans, right? Although he's got no gas to use for that so far. Do you think it's just going to be a Glaive build again?
I think so, because if you analyze the DT build and you're Astrea, you're probably feeling pretty lucky that you actually won that build in spite of Scarlett being ready with the Overseers and the Roaches. So I like that he's going for the Glaives here. It's still yet to be seen how much of a commitment this build will have.
Oh, right? Seeing a little bit of a commitment there.
Yeah.
As for, is there going to be more? We'll see. We'll see. Okay, this is very safe and standard so far. So the 4 gateways allow you to pile on the pressure, like to really own your opponent if things are going well, but it also allows you to transition out of it and get up a 3rd base if it's not going super well. So it's very fluid, it feels, as an opening.
Yeah, definitely. And yet still, it's one of the stronger commitments that we've seen out of Astrea right off the bat of his 2 bases. So we'll see how much he is able to do. He hasn't been amassing that many Adepts. He actually made a Stalker relatively early to deny the information. So we'll see. 2 more gateways are just now finishing. So a total of 4 gateways. It's going to be an 8 Adept attack, it seems like, as Mapu is pointing out Scarlett's defense as she gets ready for this, but she's also accounting for a potential DT slash Stargate follow-up with those sports, which is not happening.
Scarlett's reacting very well to this, though. Like, that's a lot of Lings ready, lots of Queens ready. Also, the Roach is on the way, even getting the spores for the potential, like, DT follow-up and stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah. At the same time, in order to have everything ready, you're not getting very ahead economically at all. Yet still, this is what's known as the Dong Ragu response, a big flood of Lings to prevent just the first shade of the Adepts, and then the Roaches to actually anchor, but Astrea, very good, knowing where he can trade efficiently against these Roaches. There's enough Adepts that he can two-shot them, so these Roaches are gonna struggle if they ever go outside of that Spine Crawler position.
Oh, no! No, I can't believe that just died in the way that it did. That was so sad.
Did you see the face? Did you see the face? Did anyone see the face? I didn't see the face.
Yeah, it was a sad face, man.
Oh.
It went from emo Zerg to emo Protoss right there on the webcams, and or rather, sad Zerg. Yeah, sad Zerg. Now sad Protoss.
Yeah, you hate to see it. Those are the type of moments that you see in slow-mo, you know? Like that Spore Crawler, the shot of it. It's like, oh no. There's just nothing you can do. It's an eternity.
Yeah, and the sad thing for Astrea as well, like, his life is on the line with this match.
Yeah.
Like, technically in this best of 7, he's only taken 1 map so far, and then that happens. Oh,
that is a really, really rough start. So many Lings committed, and Astrea, is he still in this game? I'm not sure. I mean, mentally, that Adept Shade, an uncharacteristic mistake onto a ball of Zerglings. They will fall. And a gutsy third base. Scarlett made a lot of units, so I would like for her to pile on the aggression. She has a bunch of Roaches, though. This is one of the harder maps to attack on.
It definitely is one of the harder maps to attack on, which is why I think Astrea feels so confident in taking the third in the first place. These Lings, they're getting a wraparound on something. Oh.
That's so smart of Scarlett, right? Because Astrea shows the Adepts at one side of the map and he wants to try to make something happen with them. He wants to try to trade them. So Scarlett says, if your Adepts are here, I can definitely go elsewhere, and gets good trades. Though not amazing trades, to the credit of Astrea, and those Warpins and the Warp Prism arriving timely.
By the way, look at this wall that Scarlett's making at a third. It's with the Evo Chamber, even plugging in that hole there with the Spine Crawler. Like, just to make the Adept life a little bit more difficult there if they do come on over. This is a really rough spot for Astrea. Like, normally we've been seeing him get pretty decent openings, but here, this has just gone from bad to worse, seemingly. And Scarlett, she's just making so many Roaches.
Yeah, these Immortals are somewhat uncontested for the time being, so Astrea is heavily relying on them to do some damage, but instead it's Scarlett finding more damage on the other side of the map with very nice Ling Rambites over and over again. And Astrea is forced to reveal his unit composition. It's Charge Lots and Sentries. I mean, Baneling Nest goes down immediately for Scarlett as a reaction. And I wouldn't mind her seeing something like Overlord drops to account for the Sentries or something of the sort. If Overlord speed starts researching soon, I'll be really happy. But regardless, I mean, she's in such a perfect position, and Banelings are no doubt one of the better things that you can do against all of the units that Astrea has.
Yeah, it's got to be said, like, Scarlett's playing really well. Like, I felt that she was kind of one-track minded against me, but it was working out, so why change? Yeah. Against Astrea, though, she's really showcased the full arsenal of what she has to deliver, which is not only can she do the timings, but she can survive the timings and really go to the late game against Protoss. Like, she's actually really good in ZVP, really good.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen almost any Hydras being produced throughout the series, in contrast, where we saw almost only exclusively Hydras against Nib, and that has to do with the unit compositions that she's facing. She's not gonna make those Hydras against Charge Lots and against Adepts. This is a measly army on the side of Astrea. Sadly for him, it looks like his tournament run might come unless he finds a miracle here. It is so much on the side of Scarlett. She is maxed against the 100 supply of an Astrea that wasn't able to find a weakness in Scarlett today. An unexpected champion. When you most doubt her is when she shows up. And that is exactly this tournament. After she took a break, she has come refreshed, reformed and ready to perform likely at the global finals. What an impressive performance.
Super well played by Scarlett here. The nail is in the coffin, it looks like. The Overseer, I mean, she can morph that. Okay, nice, quick thinking. The DTs might be able to keep her alive for a little bit, and that meat grinder, that's a lot of Zerg just falling, but she's got such a bank behind this. She's on 4 bases. She's going for Hydralisk as well to deal with the Void Rays. I mean, her supply is definitely plummeting, but Astrea, that is a lot of probes falling.
31 in total, so he is 30 probes down, and more even now falling. These Roaches just need to back. Enough damage has been dealt. Like you said, the economy greatly favors Scarlett. Astrea, with a very nice saving grace of a move, identifies that there's only one Overseer. He has 2 Void Rays, snipes it, nothing to deal with the Void Ray. Dwarfs in DTs, keeps him alive. I mean, I love that he is hanging on here, but is there really a chance? It's difficult to see that.
It's super difficult. It's super difficult. He's doing everything he can, and I mean, you might as well try, right? Like, this could be one of the greatest comebacks of all time if he does make it, but he has to remake his Cybercore, has to remake... He's down to ground 0 here, and the only thing he can make of Void Rays, pretty much, besides Zealots, and Scarlett's just... She's producing enough Hydras to just roll him over with, I feel like.
Yeah, very nice 1-2 punch will actually get rid of this base and a couple of drones. If Astrea can do this 5 more times, I'll start believing then.
I can't believe he left that hatchery alive with like 3 health there.
I can't believe you've done this.
That's what you thought of just then?
Yeah. You know that one? It's English. It's an Englishman.
Yeah, the British guy.
Can you
British
say
guy
it,
gets... I can't believe you've done this.
Yeah, explain it. Explain it for people who haven't seen it.
Should we really be talking about this, Cats? You're taking advantage of 3:30 a.m. then.
I think I am. I am enjoying this a little bit too much. But Astrea cannot be enjoying this at all, Ben, as there is now the Tunneling Claw Roaches that Scarlett seemed eager to display against Neep. I mean, if they're gonna work, anything's gonna work at this point. I think Astrea is hanging on for dear life. He needs minutes to work with, right? If Scarlett doesn't do anything or does stuff like this, only for the next 3 or so minutes,
Okay, so if we include this and the damage done at the 4th base of Scarlett, she just lost 17 drones. It has to be said, like, as much as we've been joking around and stuff, this last few minutes hasn't been good for her whatsoever.
Wow. Okay, this has been, I was saying 5 times, but it happened kind of 3 times, and that I can believe now. I can see a universe where Astrea actually restabilizes. He is going for the Flux Veins. I like it. He's just putting all the chips on the Void Rays right now. However, Scarlett is making Vipers that is one of the deadliest units against a unit that clumps up as much as the Void Ray.
It's always rough here, because I know lots of people could be like, if you make one mistake in StarCraft and the other person makes a mistake, you're even, right? Absolutely, that is not how it works. Like, Astrea's mistake where he took a massive blow to his economy earlier, like, as you put it, Scarlett is going to have to make quite a few errors here to get back into this, for Astrea at least.
All right, this could be a start, though. He's going to get a huge snipe here before the Hydras can react, before the Vipers have any energy. And this is strike number 4 before really say anything over the last couple of minutes as far as what has gone in her favor. But yeah, you're absolutely right? Like, the timing is everything. The earlier you do damage in a game, it's far more relevant. Like, think of it as if you have 10 workers and one of them dies, that's 10% of your economy. If you have 90 and one of them dies, you don't care at all.
What is happening, though? Like, Scarlett's taking so much damage, and gonna go for the yoinks instead of the parasitic bombs. I think that's a decent choice, actually.
Yeah, I mean, at this point she can yoink all of them, so there's no doubt, and there's no engagement wanting to be taken from Astrea, who is now making carriers. But I mean, that is the right call against the army that Scarlett has. If Astrea can conceal the carriers and somehow magically maybe get Storm or something of the likes, maybe Scarlett's safety maneuvers right now, Ben, something like an infestation pit to account for maybe a lack of Storm with that. What is the upgrade called again? I keep forgetting the name of that upgrade.
Which one?
It's not even an upgrade. Yeah, Microbial Shroud. So microbial trout timings could be a thing here if she identifies that there is carriers inbound, just because there's not going to be any access to those storms anytime soon. Though it is being researched, there's just, no resources.
No, and I mean, this carrier fleet is looking mighty measly at this point. The fourth base getting shut down for Astrea as well. He's trailing in supply. There are no high Templars out either, and the carriers.
This is it. This is when we look at the cameras to see the reactions, Ben, because this game is all but done. Astrea put on a fantastic fight and hanged on for dear life. And to be honest, I thought he was done earlier, but he lasted, and that is to his credit. What an incredible performance from him. He does not look